single piece of furniture in the apartment to do and rented low. I'm not particular about it. His 60-year-old cousin inherited a piece of real estate by a lake. So much for small talk. Let's get down to business. Lucy resented the aggressive salesman trying to make her sign the contract. Our minimum factors discouraged us from investing in stocks. Japan imports various raw materials and exports manufactured goods. In the course of its economic development, Japan has abandoned its traditional values. The world is faced with an unprecedented crisis. In short, the purpose of regulation is to protect domestic industries. In order to keep its competitiveness in the world, Japan must undertake sweeping deregulation in earnest. We cannot turn our backs on despite people who are at risk. The parliament decided to provide the developing countries with financial aid. Some say the British monarchy should be abolished. What do you think? They sought to shelter from the attack, but found no place to hide. There are no prospects that the two countries make significant progress in disarmament. The negotiations are underway. Before long, they will enter a crucial phase. The slaves are anxious to alter their destinies. The aristocrats abuse their privilege to their heart's content. The revolution itself bore no fruit, after all. Bob cut our conversation saying, I'm against it, but everybody ignored him. It skipped his turn on purpose. He thought of someone being bullied, but he turned a blind eye. When Nikaiwa cheated on his son, I was suspended from school. Alponic, he got away with it. They forced her to Richard because they are jealous of wealth and status. I hate him. He behaved as if he was somebody. In spite of our compliment, he frowned and turned away. He was so rude. He claimed that enormous profit was at his disposal. The more stubborn you are, the more isolated you become. Don't beat around the bush. What am I supposed to do? Just wait and see. Time will tell. Please hand the assignment by email no later than 5 p.m. on June 10th. Joe is anything but diligent. That's why he flunked math again. His thesis doesn't make sense. To begin with, his theme is obscure. His thesis is concise and to the point. How are you going to deal with this complicated problem? Leave it to me. It's a piece of cake. Nick, I'm going to look this over before I turn it in. Sorry, I have my hands full right now. But I have a lot to meet the deadline. I begged he'll get mad at you. Your summer leaves nothing to be desired, apart from a terrible handwriting. You ought to think about whether the premise is valid or not. Above all, scientific terms calls for precise definitions. First of all, learn the formula by heart. To calculate the volume, multiply the length by the width by the depth. Tiny cracks are found in the bottom of the barrel. This chapter will focus on the concept of geometry. It is much more interested in academic subjects than practical skills. Something has gone wrong with this microscope. I need have it repaired. and let me see it. Maybe I can fix it. What is an instrument? For instance, a gauge such as a thermometer or a barometer. The minute particles are barely visible to the naked eye. Muscle tissues consist of a vast number of cells. This substance is mostly composed of hydrogen and oxygen. The exact temperature is 22.68 degrees Celsius. Now Midakshio of her perfect figure. I wish I was thin like her. I envy her. You could go on diet. I fell in love with Naomi first. 3 months later, I took a chance to propose to her, but she turned me down. I met her by chance. He's gentle and smart. What's more, he's single. His nephew had brought up to be modest and considerate. Introduced to my folks, I took to him at once. People should be judged about how they look, as about who they are. It's not your title that counts. That for sure, exclaimed Bob. As a salesman put it, a man's vision will make good in the end. Keep in mind, the youth is not eternal. I can't figure out why on earth everybody feels so much contempt for Bob. I can't help laughing at him because he keeps on making stupid mistakes. He'll be the last person learn his lesson. To make matters worse, he isn't conscious of annoying us. Since I was in a hurry, I put the glove on my inside out by mistake. David is fat and clumsy. When he leaped over the shallow stream, he stumbled and twisted his ankle. I'm scared of heights. You're a coward. That bashful man seldom, if ever, expresses himself in public. It convinced me that all the superstitions are irrational. I trembled with fear at the thought of the injection. Since Bob was lazy at heart, he frequently neglected his duties. While Bob was at work, Jennifer was at home observing silly soap operas. Bob likes cartoons but doesn't think much of them. As a matter of fact, they are boring. It occurred to me that he was holding something back because he wouldn't look me in the eye. When her patience gave out, he grabbed his collar and swore at him. I must admit, we quarrel every now and then, but generally, we are on good terms with each other. Do you mind if I stop by your house? No, not at all. Be my guest. Hold on, I'll be right back. Don't hang up. I can put up for one thing. My dad drops on me from time to time. While Jennifer was standing still, but was pacing back and forth along the sidewalk. Let's make up Lisa. Stop taking me for granted. What through for this time? Really good this time. I mean it. Come on, don't get so emotional, Lisa. I didn't mean to hurt you. Let's talk it over. You betrayed me. Please forgive me. How can I make it up to you? I'll get even. You should confess your sins rather than conceal them. Keep your word, otherwise you'll end up losing face. Bob sticks to moral principles and believes that honesty pays off in the long run. Chap, you couldn't help it. I did my best. I know, don't dwell on the past. You can start over. Jane, well, please give me a favor and give me a ride to Times Square. I wish I could, but I'm tied up right now. As usual, Mark turns up on time. He's very punctual. The other day around the other were middle of a busy interstate. A truck had been skidded, turned over, and scattered its load all over the road. He recalls that the collision had been avoided by sheer luck. In case of emergency, let's get in touch with my agent right away. Jane, we're heading. I think we're lost. We went on the wrong direction. Damn, pull over. My last report broke down and was trapped in the intersection. There are so many fine scratches and dents on its surface. It's no use polishing it. Hey, we are stuck in a traffic jam. Chill out, Joe. Let's take a shortcut. We'll get there in time. I've got a flat tire. Can you give me a hand? I'll be glad to. The ambulance went out of the control and came close running over a pedestrian. He contended primitive life once existed on Mars. The crew is preparing for the voyage into outer space. They conduct a series of experiments under zero gravity. Many astronomers assume the universe will expand infinitely. The astronauts were greeted a spontaneous applause. Our panel set up with a view to preserving our endangered planet. The master plan paralyzed the local transportation network. The equator divides the globe into two hemispheres. I think it's cruel to tap animals for fur coats. The organization plays a principal role on the wildlife conservation. Many fragile species are o- on the verge of extinction. Prolonged drought is the damage to the crops. Tropical rainforests are quickly disappearing on the global scale, in part it due to acid rain. It is said that global warming is directly related to carbon dioxide emissions. The destruction of the ozone layer affects the environment. The committee called out for all the nations to work side by side to curb air pollution. A satellite was launched into orbit to monitor melting glaciers.